Welcome to episode 76 of Nobody Special.
In this episode, we talk about deconstructing your faith and pursuing Jesus genuinely.
The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Hey everyone, welcome to Nobody Special, two Nobodies talking about somebody who matters. I'm Danny, the headache boy and host of Nobody Special.
And I'm Caleb, your other host of Nobody Special. This is a podcast where two generations of people talk about God, pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously.
Caleb, I have had a headache all day. And
wow,
like all
the
day,
trim in your voice just made it sound like you're about to sob.
Yeah, no, it's just been the kind of like small headache that you're fine, but you are gonna snap
really
at like the first person. You know, like it's there.
I'm fine.
It's kind of if I had to compare it to something, I'd compare it to a guy that just follows around all day, but just and tapping a drum, but just like slightly.
Yeah.
It isn't that it's annoying. It's that it's annoying because it's just there. So anyway, also another thing that I don't think has been helping is I think I've been like dehydrated for 3 days. Because
have you been drinking water?
Well, I need to drink more. I know that much.
Yeah.
And part of it
true.
I blame because of our new. Is it called a hobby?
What
is it? A hobby?
What, working out?
Yeah. Is it a hobby? What do we call
just something
that?
you should do. So.
It's just a thing we're doing.
Yeah.
Can we call it a hobby so I'll actually be more prone to do it?
A hobby, yeah, it's a hobby.
Yeah,
Danny.
hobbies are fun.
Yeah, it is. It is fun. I actually am really enjoying it. I've gone more times without you than I have with you, but that's all right. You went without me. He texted me. He's like, left my shampoo bottle at the gym.
Yeah.
I was like, you went to the gym without me, jerk. So I
No,
went twice
okay,
without
so
him.
so no, this is a big deal for me. It's actually the first time I've showered at a public shower.
Oh yeah, I'm not showering there. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
I had to because I had to go to disciple group immediately after it, or I just wasn't going to get in a workout.
Yeah.
And I had to shower because I didn't want to go smelling like death. And it was just like,
yeah.
I don't know how to do this. Like, I brought all my clothes and my dirty clothes because I'm not going to be that old man who just... Why is it the old men
are always in the showers at gyms?
No, not that they're in the showers. It's that they're coming out of the showers sans towel.
I don't know. But I do know what you're talking about.
I mean...
Because I know this
ladies, does this happen in your locker rooms that the ladies just come out and be like, I'm old. Here it is, everyone.
Yeah.
Here's everything. Because that's what the old men do. And there's some kind of thought behind it because they're still wearing shower flip-flops. So they put on something they've thought through. Gosh,
I'm dead serious.
It would be weird.
That is the first time in like 10 years I had a gap of preserving my eyeballs from... This is from... No, we gotta get this out.
No, I'll do it because I've been there. There are some things that you don't want to glance at, but you have to. It's just like,
yeah. I went to my friend's gym, and I was walking through the locker room, and that is where it happens. It's just a thing, and it was an old man, and it's always old men.
Right.
They're just very comfortable.
What are you looking at? I had an answer to that, but we're gonna skip it.
We're
not
in the right direction.
In fact,
what are we in the first 5 minutes, and this has just gone super downhill?
I'm just gonna tell the audience what I'm doing. I'm typing what it was I was gonna say because I know you'll be able to see it.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to see it.
Well, turns out I can't type anyway. That's probably fine.
Yeah.
So
that is,
no. So been exercising more. I'm still in pain from like 3 days ago.
Yeah, good.
Like
Danny is hilarious because he says that he knows his limit.
Yeah, I do.
And
that's not funny. That's accurate.
3 reps over what he said he could do.
No, but every other time it's like give me one more, and I'm like I don't have it. I don't. It's going to crush my chest.
Oh my God.
I don't have it. Those final 2 are pushed out by
hatred of Caleb.
No, it's mostly self-hatred. It's like, push it up, you fat turd. You know, like that's
gosh.
Yeah, no, that's what's in my brain, by the way. That's not a joke.
No, you've
It's
been doing
worse.
good though, because I have been pushing you. And
Have you been pushing me to the limit?
I would say yeah.
And
That's why I'm scared when
And we're
you
in it
went
to
by
win it?
yourself. Yeah.
No, I just did cardio. You for real? I don't know what I'm doing on those things. I did schedule an appointment, so I'm gonna have somebody talk to me.
Wow, a professional, not Caleb Chloe.
They had they're gonna plan out a thing, and there's a 5 questionnaire that I was just having to resist the sarcasm urge because it said like, do you have any injuries? And I almost said not yet, but working on it. Like because of my technique, which is terrible.
Yeah. You got to keep those shoulders back.
The goals I have, they asked about goals, and I said, I want to jiggle less.
Oh, my gosh.
So I'm just making it fun for whoever gets that. And it's like, oh, one of these.
Oh, Danny.
Okay.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be allowed in public.
And then they're just not going to take you serious, and then they're going to be like, you know what? Skip this application. That was scary. Sorry, we just had a creepy noise from outside.
God. Sorry. I'll cut that out. So Caleb, it's been kind of a crazy few days of news. Have you been keeping up?
No, I really haven't. I've just kind of ignored it all, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
but I guess I'm going to be exposed to it right now.
Okay, so all right. I was planning this show. There were two things. Well, no, there was one thing I wanted to talk about, and one thing I felt as if I needed to talk about. Mm-hmm. So this is the thing I needed to talk about. There have been 2 mass killings over the past few days in, I think, Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso, Texas. So first of all, I'm not going to get into any politics of either side. I'm not going to do it because it's a waste of time. People are on the campaign trail. They're just trying to blame each other.
Video games.
It's a colossal. Oh my gosh,
Danny,
we did it again.
Danny, how could you play that game?
Do you know how video games are connected to mass shootings?
Not.
They're not. They're not. All the studies have said like, yeah, that's not it. That's not it.
Yep.
Could be the fatherless home epidemic and everything else, but overall they're not connected. But
boom,
they are trying to tie a few of them to white supremacist groups and that kind of stuff, and
like KKK.
Not the KKK.
Wow, that's first.
Well, I mean, depends on who is being asked. Some would claim that the Republican Party is a bunch of white nationalists, which is an unfair and incorrect overgeneralization, I think. And then other times people are saying it's like, well, but there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, I'm not gonna let you get off the hook either. There's absolutely something wrong with it.
Right.
But oftentimes people have come out on the Democratic side and said, well, how come nobody's denouncing it and this kind of stuff? So I wanted to take a bit of time and just kind of say this. Feel free to jump in at any point.
Oh, yeah.
Over the past few days, we've seen 2 mass killings, and I'm not going to go over any of the morbid details, but instead take some time to affirm some biblical truths. To be honest, I'm trying to not be accused of sweeping a stance under the carpet by not addressing it.
Yeah.
To be fully and 100% clear, there is no room in Christianity to have any kind of bigotry, racism, or any kind of supremacy.
Yeah.
The only supremacy in keeping with Christianity is the supremacy of Christ.
Right.
Period. That is it. White supremacists can carry an ideology that is inconsistent with Christian beliefs and core doctrines that all people are created in the image of God.
They do.
Yeah, no, sorry. Oh, did I say can? I wrote this down so I wouldn't do this. White supremacists carry an ideology that is inconsistent with the teachings of Jesus Christ.
Right.
It just can't fit.
Yeah.
It does not fit.
That's not to say, like, anyone, if you have those feelings of racism or white supremacy inside you, and you are a Christian, that's not to say there's not hope for you. And
Right.
there's not to say that the
Right.
sanctification is not at work inside of you. But I hope that you know that it is not right. It is completely
right.
sideways to what Christianity and Christ believes.
Right.
And it's yeah.
All people are created in the image of God. And to try and claim any person is a sub-person, that's an evil ideology. And I'm also being clear to his point. Those ideologies are inconsistent. However, people can still come to Christ. It is a matter of putting down those things we hold and submitting to the truth and grace of Jesus Christ, period.
And if you're still struggling with those things, that's okay because as long as you're
fine
struggling,
too. Yeah, struggle
as long
is
as
okay.
you are going against the grain, which is
Right.
what struggling is,
Right.
then good. But
Right.
like, yeah, just do your best.
Right.
It's
Talk
it's a
to
tricky
people
thing.
though. I mean, talk to people. I know this got talked about on a previous podcast. The kid from Park or Cameron something. Anyway, he at a point had been a staunch anybody that's pro 2A is just trying to kill kids and murder them and all that because he came out of Parkland High School or Majority Stone Douglas High School, and just in his touring he talked to a ton of people and got to know them, and he scaled back a couple of his thoughts that not everybody doing this is just a murderer or anything else.
Yeah.
They're not just the talking points that people kind of claim they are. They're different. They're actual people. And the more I get to know another person, the more I can care about that person. It's the same thing for other genders, races, everything else. They're all created in the image of God,
Right.
and all of us struggle through certain things.
seriously, yeah.
So that isn't to excuse any of the ideology or the actions that have occurred in the past couple of days.
Yeah.
They're inexcusable. They're evil. They're wrong. And I'm not going to fluff that up.
Yeah.
But the beauty of the cross is that it split the person and the action. And there's grace to any person that comes to Christ and bows before him. If I don't ever speak up enough against these types of groups, similar to the KKK, that kind of stuff, it's because, to be honest, they're not worth my time. And that's just the truth of it. These are people that have dedicated to a racist and bigoted ideology that are inconsolable and can't be argued against or debated or anything else. And so coming out to say that the KKK is racist and bad, to me just feels lazy and softballing it because everyone agrees with
we
that.
didn't know that? Yeah.
Everyone agrees with
I think
that.
where it
They got
lies,
some good quality. Shut up.
where it lies is like, in my opinion, because racism it's a thing that I would say is overgeneralizing a race, and that can come in. I mean,
Somewhat.
well, I say that lightly.
In a
I think
negative
that is an attribute that comes from it.
Right.
Yeah, in a negative way,
Right.
of course. Like, to be honest, I mean, I have this in my past, but like, I'm still struggling with it, but I get better. But overgeneralizing black males specifically, like straight up, when I was like this was a while ago. I used to be a sign turner. That was my first job at a place called Java Game House. And
He was that guy.
I was on the side of the road in a not so nice area. And I was just sign turning away.
Hold
on the corner.
Is that not a nice area?
No, I mean it's an alright area. But I mean like
I
it's
almost
not
moved there.
it's not knockety, you know what I mean?
Well,
it's like, but this group of like probably 8 black males, they're probably, above their 20s, but they were coming down the sidewalk, and I legit, like, overgeneralized, and I was, like, kind of scared, to be honest, because I was out there alone, and I just completely, overstepped in my mind. I think that even with white people, you can kind of see attributes that you should be worried for your safety.
Right.
Like, that is a thing. It doesn't matter if they're white, black, Asian. There's things where people, you can sense that they're unstable. But in this scenario, I really had nothing to go on except for their color. and they were walking down the street, and as soon as they came by me, they were super nice. And they were like, "What's up, man? How are you doing?" And I was like, "Hey, I'm good." And it was really just made me feel like a turd. And that was honestly, that was like the moment in my life that completely opened up my eyes.
Right.
Because, like...
Yeah, and as harsh as it sounds, you should feel like a turd there.
Yeah. No,
like,
I should.
And I've had those same kind of moments of, I feel kind of like a turd. And someone's called me out on it too and said, good, because you should feel like a turd there.
And if you want to judge me and say, "Oh, how could you think that?" You do it too. I know that everyone does that. So it doesn't matter if you're black too. I mean, people do that to everyone. Like, different. Yeah. It really just it's a thing that I did, and I think that a lot of people do.
But I think as people, it's in our nature to both categorize in the easiest way possible. Because, I mean, it's based in, I don't have enough time to think about every person as an individual. So I make mental shortcuts. And some of the time, they're accurate, too.
Right.
The problem comes if I've created these kinds of shortcuts based on non-information or not accurate information.
Right.
And it ends up being prejudiced against a group of people that, no, they're just this, or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
To them, at that point, that isn't a mental kind of a shortcut. It's a it's a prison that I've put them in.
Exactly.
And I think it's important that all of us do take the time to every now and then stop and say, okay, that thought. Why did I have that thought?
Yeah. Exactly.
And is that a consistent thought or a thought that's in keeping with the person nature of Jesus Christ?
Exactly. That's and that's what I was kind of bringing up with, like, the overgeneralization of a race. I think that is truly, that is the common, I would say, kind of racism inside everyone.
Right.
Is in a negative way, like I said, not in a positive. I guess some people would count that as racism, but
right.
But because in that moment, like, it's wrong, and I think it's so small. It's at the same time that you gotta catch yourself, because like, I could have easily been like, thought that I was justified in that,
right,
when I really wasn't.
Right.
And that's like
or tried to justify it based on no information.
Yeah.
Like, well, no, but they, it's their fault for.
Exactly.
Like, it's not. It's your dumb fault.
And even if someone does look suspicious, no matter what their race, it should be your first goal when they walk by, or if they're approaching you, to show Christ to them. First thing I should have done that was, like, nodded my head and be like, "Hey, how are you guys?" I should have been the one to step out as being a Christian. Like, and that's the thing that is super important, is to go first in those situations, because I think that shows a lot, especially nowadays where it is super white supremacy and being a white male, you know. But yeah, I mean,
any kind of racial prejudice in any, or it doesn't even have to be a race, but ideological prejudice, that kind of thing, that I'm judging a person based on non-information or inaccurate info, is problematic and inconsistent with Christianity.
Yeah.
Now, to be clear, the thing I'm not saying is that all beliefs are compatible to Christianity. That isn't the thing I'm saying. But it isn't a fair thing to say, oh, all white people do blank, all black people do blank, all Christians do blank, all Muslims do blank. these are inconsistent to Christ dying on the cross for all people.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I wanted to be sure I said something, because there's nothing to say about this topic other than that a shooting happened. It was bad. It was an evil act. I don't want to get into the political aspects because we're too close to an election and people are lining up exactly how you think that they're lining up, and Beto's going crazy.
Yeah.
But he done been crazy.
It's an interesting time to be alive. Also, well, real quick, just be praying for like all those families.
Absolutely.
Too. Because that is something. Although I feel like we've become kind of numb to shootings and stuff, and especially on.
See, I haven't.
I mean, yeah, some people I guess haven't, but I mean, I would say I have, and that's terrible. But it is something that is kind of been. There's so much of it now that it's like, just kind of. I mean, it sucks, but it's hard for me to
personally
right off the bat sympathize. You know, I have to.
I think it's overcovered.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I think it is. I think it's overcovered. I think there's too much exposure to it that because news networks go on 24 hours a day, they have to dig into everything, his Facebook activity, all that. They dig into all this and just play it on a constant stream that I don't think it's the action, but the constant stream of info that all of us are getting and don't know how to process.
Yeah.
There isn't time to process because it's on to the next thing. So
right. You know, but be praying for those families and be praying for
absolutely.
You know, even our enemies, which it's hard for me to say that like people who have different beliefs than me are an enemy, which I don't think they are, but
right. Yeah, they're not.
They're not.
They're not.
Yeah.
People are not the enemy.
Pray for them. You know,
the
like
spiritual dark forces are.
Yeah. So.
And don't pray for them; they're already gone. By pray for our enemy, it's pray for people we perceive to be our enemy because they're probably not.
Yeah, exactly. So, be praying for everyone. You know, and anyone in these times, and that they would ultimately see Christ through this. And yeah, so I feel like that's an important thing to say.
So,
moving on.
Speaking of considering our own thoughts, Caleb, we recorded an episode.
Yes.
Where the articles were starting to come out that Joshua Harris and his wife were separating.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, leave Joshua Harris alone.
Yep.
2 days after that, Joshua Harris posts this big thing on Instagram talking about how he's deconstructed his faith, him and his... Well, that was the main part, is he deconstructed his faith by his own standards. He does not consider himself to be a Christian. He's apologizing to all his LGBTQIA. This is not me trying to be offensive. I'm literally trying to remember the acronym. Plus people to any of the hurt he may have accidentally caused, and that he is no longer a Christian.
Yeah.
When I say leave Joshua Harris alone, I was not expecting that kind of audible. So, and to be fair, I'm still going to honor the spirit of we need to leave Joshua Harris alone. I'm not talking about his marriage. I'm not getting into the theories as to anything I think happened, but there's a topic there that I want to bring up because it's that important. The idea of deconstructing faith and becoming the term that's being thrown out by a good amount of people is unchristian. Mm-hmm. It's people that they had been Christian and have fallen out of that, and it's actually no. The other term is there's the churched, the unchurched, and the de-churched. It's people that they had been in church and then at some point they just fell away, and they're growing a group to the point that they needed to be called the de-churched. This is essentially the thing Joshua Harris did, is he de-churched or deconstructed his own thoughts. And at the end of that, having thought through all of that, he came to the conclusion, I'm not Christian. So there's a lot there that is, I'm going to be honest, really terrifying, and have been the source of various different phone calls and conversations I've had with people. So I want to have it out here.
Yeah.
What happened?
I think
what happened?
What happened? In my opinion, I mean, it's scary to say this. It genuinely scares me. But in times where, you know, people, especially someone who is very famous and known for his Christian literature.
Right.
That,
I mean, just the one book, though. I mean, he's only known for like the one book.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's had 2 books, but
it comes down to, did they ever really know Jesus? Or I think there's the flip side of that they did know Jesus and they rebuked him, which I believe is the definition of blasphemy, which is an unforgivable sin in the Bible. The unforgivable sin, not in. There's only one.
Blasphemy against the Spirit, yes.
So that's what I kind of see.
Not necessarily against Jesus, because people do that one all the time.
Well, no, but it's once you have had the Holy Spirit inside you, and you say you've had a taste of the peace and everything, and you say, okay, I don't want this. Then there's no more for you, because you made that decision. Like, you were the one who, like, even though you still believe, but you set it aside.
So,
which is a big deal. I don't think, and I think that there's that, and then there is, did they even truly know Jesus? Did they taste his glory? And because I would argue that if you have, it would be a very hard case to pull you away from Christianity. Like, that's what I believe, you know, Perseverance of the Saints is what that means, in my opinion. Is that they
can't
persevered.
Lose their salvation, so if they did, then they never really had it to begin with.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to back up a little bit also. Okay. Kevin Young, great pastor. He's amazing. I love that guy. They had started a group in the early days of the Gospel Coalition of the Young, Restless, and Reformed, and they all got together to pray over each other, to encourage each other, and all that. And a good amount of them became big names in Christianity. Joshua Harris, Kevin is a part of them. He's a fairly decent name in Christianity. And just at some point in there, a few members have fallen away from the faith. And so Kevin actually put out a blog post on where they may have failed as the Gospel Coalition, and how they're going to be checking into their processes a bit to see about promoting these people too high too fast. Kevin's perspective, as I understand it, is that this guy had been young and promoted very quick in an untested faith. Now, personally, just based on the amount of stuff I've been following by Joshua Harris, it just comes off as the man is being tested and struggling through that, because there are LGBTQ plus friends that are being, injured by the church. That's a whole other debate that we do not have the time to get into on this one. But the perspective is,
I wouldn't say debate. I think it's a pretty subtle answer.
I would agree. Mm-hmm. You would agree. The entire American United Methodist Church would maybe disagree. But you're wrong. Okay, sorry. That's just want to throw some shade real quick. Whatever. Yeah. So, as I was going through, I was thinking of James 1 that says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing."
Yeah.
And I think the idea of our faith being tested isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and that could be very well what this is. And that's another thing, is we from the outside will never be able to tell what someone is going through.
No.
It's just true. Don't try and dissect it.
Right.
You can speculate.
Right.
That's it. Because
right.
he could not be a Christian. He could truly not be saved, and he could be, just actually never knew Christ and may come to know him one day, and then he may be just tested right now. Those are like the three options, in my opinion.
And I'll be honest, I've even had days that I've been so angry at God that I wanted nothing to do with him. And still, I knew it was better to be in the throne room of God angry than anywhere else putting a happy, dumb smile on my face.
Yeah.
It's better to be there upset and angry and confused and hurt by God than any other place and be like, no, this is fine.
And I'm the same way. I mean, I haven't really been angry at God too much, but I've had like sincere doubts in Christianity at times, which are now resolved in me. But like, I went through like a 3-month period where I was just like, I wouldn't say that I wasn't a Christian, but I basically stepped away from practicing it.
Right.
Just because I was just like, just had to answer those questions first. Right.
Yeah. Like, what is this? What are we doing?
Yeah. That was like the first time I truly thought about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just had to, answer those and ask God, which sounds like crazy when you're doubting because you're like, are you even real?
Right.
And it's
again, I'd rather have doubts in the throne room of God.
Yeah.
Than to be positive any other place.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think we all have these different tests in different areas. But yeah, I mean, that could be very well what Joshua Harris is going through.
I mean, I think he's going through something, and I mean, all the Calvin bros from the YRR are all they see. This is the part that I was talking to somebody about. I was talking to Evan that this is the part that theology becomes very, very important, because it's not just a debate of topic or doctrine or orthodoxy or anything else, because these are people that tend to hold to the preservation of the saints. They're all very into that. They dig scripture and all that, and they're having to say at this point that their friend, who they've been in his house, that they've met his kids, his ex-wife, that they've prayed over each other, that they've held each other accountable, that they've struggled through all these things, that either and this is these are the options that are terrible for them, is that they either, all of them missed that they did not have an authentic faith, or that this man has fallen away and cannot return.
Yeah.
And they have all of them, to some extent, have backpedaled a bit and said, it is our hope that he comes back to Christ.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that is sincerely what you got to, what you have to do.
Right.
And it's
theology and doctrine is important because of these moments here.
And it's terrifying. It genuinely terrifies me to think that I, can see all of these different people around me who are my friends, who I think are good Christians that truly love Jesus, and to think that they don't actually know him and that one day they might step away. Like, there's so many different things that could happen. And that's why I think people kind of miss the importance of, praying for everyone. Like, of course, we should be praying for the unreached and the people who haven't become Christians yet. But you should also be praying for your friends who are Christians, for your church, for all of that stuff, because it's just, it's crazy important. It is crazy important.
And I'll take that a step beyond that too, to not only pray for them, but pray with them.
Yeah.
Get together and pray together.
Yeah.
I was actually, there was I'd actually been thinking about this topic for like 3 weeks. And then all this stuff happened, and then I caught another kind of a sermon on this kind of thing, on the brotherhood coming together, of struggling together, of calling each other out. There's a sermon I caught today from the guy I showed you, whose name I don't remember and don't know how to pronounce. Is it JR? No, JR is the other guy.
JR. Who?
Lourdes or something? There will be a link in the comments to the sermon, but it was on this kind of thing, and talking about how they had a group of them who came together to hold each other crazy accountable and call each other out on each other's stuff. And they had a time, in a group text, that one of them had texted, "Hey guys, I need prayer. I'm about to leave the house because my wife is kicking me out and just things aren't going great." And they immediately set up a group call. I think one of them got on a plane to fly over there, and they said, "It'll be over our cold, dead bodies that you let your marriage disintegrate in that manner. Get back in that house and fight for your marriage." And I'm like, that's not normally how that conversation goes, but everybody needs that kind of encouragement to pray with people. And also, because he said it, it was great. He said, everybody needs a friend to every now and then pat him on the shoulder, and every now and then to put a foot right up there behind. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. So, but the entire thing is scary. Someone pointed out a book that goes in a lot of seminaries I think it's called Dangerous Calling. And on the back, it gives, pastors given the endorsement for the book and just how dangerous a ministry is, because it is. And it's, of the 5 names on there, 3 of them have fallen out or had a great moral failure. Yeah. And it's just, it was a haunting back page of that book. So do we ever, how can we test our faith or get through the test? Because I think all of us are going to get to that point that culture and our faith smacks up against each other. Yeah. From what I can tell based on Joshua Harris's Instagram post, that was a big part, is his faith and his culture smashed into each other, and he had to pick. Mm-hmm. So how do we do that?
I mean, that's a great question that I think is I think you kind of mentioned it before. I think what it is you truly have to dig deep. Your roots need to be deep. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what is so important about studying the Bible and theology, like you were saying, which a lot of people kind of like shy away and like, oh, I'm not smart. I can't do that. That's
for the pastor. It's not. I mean, it is. It's definitely for the pastor, but it's also for you too.
It's something that, we all should do. We should all dig deep. And that is something that not only helps firm our faith, but also helps our relationship with Jesus. Like, by studying the Word, you're going to grow closer to Jesus because you're knowing more about Him and knowing more about, the Bible to guide you where to go. And also, like I said, getting those roots deep, because when I'll use a palm tree example. When the hurricane comes, if you're a shallowed tree, I mean, you're gonna fall. And if your faith is old, then your branches are gonna shake and break. But like a palm tree, they'll bend. Right. They'll be tested, but right. In the end, they're still standing. And I think it's truly, I mean, I hate using those kind of metaphors, but I think that's kind of a really cliches. Good one. It is like you need to completely structure yourself to be able to take a hit. And that's what I think, like you were saying, Joshua Harris being pushed like that so young, he didn't have those roots, and when that came, I mean, it hit him down.
I don't think he had the testing. The odd thing is he had the roots. I think it was the soil he planted in. I know that's like, I'm dumb for arguing a metaphor. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I get it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's kind of the casting a seed parable, talking about, if it's just shallow dirt, it's going to get plucked up. There was part of the tilling process that didn't happen. It wasn't firm. It was just loose.
Well, yeah, but what does that translate to in reality?
Oh, in reality,
yeah. We can go metaphors all day.
The man it was all fine. I'm not trying to say he never had any problems, but I think when these problems of faith came that questioned his faith as a person, as a human, and that he understood that some of the things he had said had hurt people in a real and actual manner, specific his book, that he told people, hey, I'm taking that book off the shelf. I can't recall 30 million copies because I can't, but I don't buy into a lot of the philosophy of that book. To be honest, I kind of agree with him on that too. There were parts of that had damaged a lot of people based on this over Christianese type of dating style. Only date if you're married. How'd that work? I mean, that's an oversimplification, but that was kind of the premise of the book, is that dating is evil. Again, oversimplification. It's actually a fairly decent book. I say go check it out if you can find a copy, which good luck. But there is something about an old pastor that has a limp that's trustworthy. That they've been through something, that they've been injured almost and are still there.
Yeah.
Because at that point, if I've been attacked and injured and I'm still trusting God at the end, I think that's kind of the thing it tells us, that we are not just conquerors, we're more than conquerors.
Yeah.
That even the attacks of death can't take us down because of the Christ who lives inside of us.
Yeah.
I think that's, the older pastor, instead of these guys that are 20s and have the sleek haircut and the, Gucci shoes and all that's fine, but I don't think they've hit that crisis. And I think that crisis, that defines them as a person, as a human, as a pastor, as a father, as all those things, because it shows us who they are. And I think Joshua, he got to that crisis. So in the meantime, for us to prepare, because I think all of us do get to that crisis. And I've had some messed up stuff in my church past. I've had a lot of messed up stuff, and I still don't think I've hit the full crisis yet. And so to prepare that, to till the soil, to toughen it up, it's engage the scriptures, study it more than ever. And then at some point, it's the shield of faith, that I'm just trusting God, that as the fiery arrows come, that I hide behind faith, not because I have all the answers or understand everything, but because God can handle it.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think another aspect of this whole thing is community, and seriously, build up a group of people around you that will point out your errors, because that's something crazy important. Because the moment that happens, it's going to be a lot harder if you don't have anyone there telling you truth, like speaking truth.
Right.
And so you can have a church family, but I think we all know that you need those specific people. And I know it. You know what I'm talking about. Those people who keep you accountable, who aren't afraid to call out your bull crap, and just that they're there to point you in the right direction.
Right.
And that's super important. Even if it's just one person, you need to find that person, because it's just crazy important on top of all this. Because that could
put
be
the hand on in prayer and the foot on and
in the butt.
The boot of fellowship.
Yeah.
The steel-toed boot of fellowship and accountability.
Yeah. But it's crazy and it's scary, all of this stuff, but It's basically just prepare yourself for the storm.
And I mean, doubt, here, I'll say this. The question of perseverance of the saints. Did he have an authentic faith or did he fall away? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I sincerely don't think that that's our job to know.
No. But the question we can ask is, how are we?
Yeah. No, that's seriously, that is actually this whole thing. I know you said it kind of like scared you a bit, but I've like seriously been like shook and kind of like scared for myself. And really kind of like I made sure I reconsidered everything. I counted all my chips. I don't know if that's a poker term. I just made that up. Count all your chips. All right. It's not a thing, but I just made it up. So boom, count all your chips. But like seriously, I told you I kind of spent all like one half of a Saturday just kind of infusing myself with the word and really because like this whole thing did scare me and I want to make sure this is not just me playing doing the motions. I just
it's
scary.
One thing to say, this could be me, and I mean that's a healthy question. I think all of us have to ask. Or I guess that's not a question. That's a statement. That's a healthy statement. All of us need to ask is this could be me. And then, but don't please don't stay there. If that's the statement of, could this be me? If that's the question being asked, could this be me? The best thing you can do at that point is say, heck no, and then go as hard and as fast as you can to pursue God with everything that you have. I mean, spiritual giants didn't get there because they prayed a prayer one time and then they're giants now. They labored, their blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, go through church history. There's some really great stories of these giants that spent so much time in the word of God that as they're being martyred, they're quoting scripture instead. I mean, even the first martyr, Stephen in the Bible, this man knows he's going to die, and instead of saying it's like, please don't kill me, this man preached a sermon, and then they killed him. He's like, if I'm going out in the word of God because it's the power to save man. This.
Exactly.
He took the Pharisees through scripture, which is super insulting because they're like, yeah, I memorized it, I got it. And he took them through it and said, and all of that's pointing to Jesus, and you're dumb for not realizing it. Stab me, please. Like that's the kind of baller gangster move I hope to get to one day if I can get in my Bible and pray hard and do all that. It's not that I'm saved by that, but I'm doing it because I am saved.
Yeah, and that's like the thing that I went through. When I kind of was thinking about this whole thing, I kind of looked at the people around me, and I was like, looked at myself, and I think that's what you need to do. The moment you ask that question, like you said, heck no. Go after it.
I mean, no, we won't
read
go.
the Bible, pray,
because
it's really, it's up to you. And I mean, I do believe that there is predestination involved and all that stuff, but we don't know. We really don't. And
here's
I think that
for every theological opinion or topic, I have two opinions. One is the public opinion that I give, and the other's the non-public opinion I talk and debate on over and over. For predestination, here's my public opinion. At the end, some people will be on the right. Some people are going to be on the left. Be on the right.
Why is the right side?
I don't know. I picked
the left,
one.
The right side.
Some people will be wheat. Some people are chaff. Can they change if they are wheat or chaff? No. But live like wheat.
Yeah.
And let God sort out that other part.
Yeah.
Because at the end, I'm either going to be there or I'm not there. And that's just kind of where it is.
I think
live as if I'm there.
Those people who choose the other side of it are, I mean, that's you kind of stealing your fate in a way. You know, like if you do ask this question, am I truly a Christian? Do I truly am I truly running after Jesus? The moment you ask that question, if you're like, well, I mean, I don't know, I guess I'm just gonna live my life now.
Right.
That's not a good thing. But I think the people who are determined, no matter what, if you're determined, yeah. I mean,
you know that. All right, that always bugged me. This is kind of on topic or off topic. People always said they were like taking time off church to figure out the whole God thing, and I'm like,
no.
Okay.
No.
All right. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'll entertain that thought for a bit. Okay. You're kind of feeling it as if you're not fitting into the church and trying to figure out if God is actually true or not, or an actual thing. Sure, because I think some people need to do that. Sure. All right.
I don't encourage that.
I'm going to concede.
I genuinely don't encourage.
I don't either. But
no. Yeah. What scenario? No, I don't think that there's any scenario.
I'm going to concede that. I'm going to concede it.
I disagree.
So and the thing I asked them is, okay, if I'm conceding that and I don't enjoy that I'm conceding that, what are you doing to find, prove, test, or confirm God? And the answer always was, I'm just taking some time off to think about it. Cool. When are you thinking about it? Well, I don't know. I just haven't picked a time. Cool. Pick a time. Do you want to think now? I got time. Think
exactly.
now.
That's why I disagree.
Yeah.
You should not leave the church. And if you see anyone do that,
but
don't let them leave.
It's an excuse. That's kind of the thing I'm trying to say. If I'm trying to ask questions about God, ask to God or to people that have an understanding of God. Don't just pull this a garbage of, well, I'm just going to think it out in my own head, the same place that all the doubts are. I'm going to be in there. Fine. That's stupid.
No, yeah.
I'm sorry. It's stupid.
I've seen way too many people do that, and way too many people are not Christians anymore, and it's it's sad to see.
Right.
Like I'm
just taking time off. How much time? A week? Church, 2 weeks?
There was someone who is on staff who did that. And it scared the crap out of me for a while because they said that. They're like, hey, I'm just going to, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm stepping down and I'm going to step away and, just reconsider everything. And the moment they said that, I knew that was it. And that's the sad thing about it. I mean, genuinely, all this scares me.
Are we
in a good
we
way.
Allowed to talk about that?
I mean, I didn't mention any names.
Okay.
But
Jessica, no, I'm sorry. If that's actually it, I'm so sorry.
No, it's not.
It's not. Jessica, you're safe. Tiffany, you know what you did.
But anyways, and on the opposite end of that, I've seen people who are on staff who took a step further in their faith. And that's cool. And I think
in the middle of
scary.
crisis too. I mean,
it's scary. Well, not even that, but they were just. It was a beach baptism. Joey mentioned this on a Sunday, but he was actually someone I was filming with. Because we were filming baptism. I was A camera, he was B camera, and apparently after, I mean, I wasn't around for it, but he was talked to one of the pastors. And he's like, "Hey, I've never been baptized, and I feel like I'm called to make that step now.
Doing it today, yeah."
And that's another thing that's scary and cool. I'm not saying that just because you're not baptized doesn't mean you can be on leadership in a church, but it's still, it's cool to see the other side of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because it's easy to focus on the negative side of everything and see all of these people falling away.
Right.
Although we should be praying for them.
Absolutely.
But focus on the wins in the kingdom of heaven also, because it's a big thing.
Yeah. So, again, in longer conclusion, leave Joshua Harris alone and pray for him.
Yeah.
It's
genuinely up to God.
I don't know.
Him.
Can I stop sending him hate mail? Friggin' all right. Sorry, he said that a little bit, and I'm like, well, that's dumb. I'm sorry, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Don't send someone who's having a spiritual crisis hate mail saying how much you hate them. Yeah. Why do we have to say these things? That's why am I the crazy one for the? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's a scary, tricky thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I have to be positive and upbeat. Do you have a joke? I don't have anything.
You don't have to end on a positive note.
This headache is still pounding.
Check us out on Facebook and Instagram and at Nobody Special Podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
You can ask us questions in our DM, or you can go to thegospelpost.com/nobody.
Slide right in.
And you /nobody special. And then you can go to our little question. Nope. Go to our question box and ask us questions, or just say hello. Like, seriously. It's we genuinely, we love to hear from you guys, no matter if you're just saying hello or if you have an awesome question for us. There's no questions that are too dumb or anything like that, because you've seen how we act.
Caleb, you know you want to hear this story real quick.
All right.
I just
want to finish that because you're about to interrupt me.
Because someone tried to like slide into my DMs.
Yeah.
Kinda. Pretty sure it was either a robot or someone who was after my credit card info, and they started talking to me, and I was like, they're like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And I'm like, "Funny you should ask."
Yeah.
I'm like, I am actually a children's pastor at a church, and actually, no, it was a while ago. I told him, like, I'm a pastor, I'm working at a Christian college, and this thing that you're doing, you don't have to do it, because by the power of Christ, you've been set free from this kind of thing. And I'm like, boy, I bet they weren't expecting that when they're like Twitter botting random names. You know? So it was funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that's gonna slide into your DMs.
Yeah, no, that is
I'm
correct.
I'm just kidding, Danny. I'm just kidding.
But you're not wrong. So, yeah, website, Facebook, Instagram, all that. Come say hi.
We love you guys.
Share the show.
Yeah, seriously, that's super helpful. As embarrassing as it might be, you should share the show.
Just go ahead and say you should listen to this podcast. It sucks though.
Also, you should check out our YouTube, because I'm trying to think of it. Also, here we go. This is something visual that I bought my first pair of jeans.
They look ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Danny was kind of shook. But if you want to see me, I'm holding my leg up. I'm holding my leg up. If you want to see it, check out the YouTube.
Because it's just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it is uncomfortable.
Well, thanks, Danny. Thanks for
I don't know why it's uncomfortable. It's just...
I might just return them.
They're like regular human jeans.
Yeah.
Which is a accidental insult that I didn't really mean right there, and I apologize.
Regular human jeans.
Hey, Caleb, we've been going on for too long. Do we want to land this?
Yeah,
I think that's going to do it for us today, and your normal jeans. They're not even like skinny jeans. They're just jeans.
Wow.
They're just jeans.
Yeah. I did get a skinny pair.
I had a feeling.
Well, it's not like skin tight, because I'm not a part of a Christian band. Yeah.
Okay, this has gone on for too long. Thanks for tuning in to our show. That's gonna do it for us today. I'm Danny.
We need to come one real quick. I'm gonna end it just because I know it's gonna annoy you too. We need to come up with a better end thing, because we say the same thing every time.
Yeah, it's called branding.
Well, no, not that part.
This is the discussion we have after the podcast.
Well,
that's gonna
do it for us today. That's the part I'm talking about. We enjoyed talking, and I hope that you guys learned something from this podcast.
It's harder than it looks, doesn't it?
I'm Caleb.
And I'm Danny.
And this is
Nobody Special. It's harder than it looks, isn't it?
Yeah.